Welcome back to Raidercast, covering your campus and community news on Dual County Channel 2 Video on Demand. I'm Mariah Stearns.
And I'm Jay Estes. Thank you for joining us for this month's edition of Raidercast. We'll begin with our most recent news stories.
College officials at LWC finished a year-and-a-half-long project. The Student Union building was renovated, but does it live up to the expectations of the students it serves? Raidercast reporters tell you more.
Students returning from Lindsey Wilson College's most recent holiday break were surprised to find a greatly renovated Student Union building, or sub. This approximately $35,000 renovation, which among other things includes the relocated Starbucks kiosk, a sound dampening wall, a computer bar, new TVs, and a new color scheme, gives the lounge area what college officials involved in the project call a warmer coffee shop atmosphere. But why renovate this sub in particular now? These officials explain.
It all stemmed from the moving the Starbucks kiosk, and that was the best location that we could find. And so we didn't want to just put the kiosk up there and not do anything to change the environment. And also in the wintertime when people are standing in line for coffee, it can get a little drafty in the atrium of the dining center. So we decided to move it up to the Student Union building. Also have a better hub for student activity, allow for drinks to be served there, and just to create a better atmosphere.
Yeah, I chose that. I could have thrown a dart at a dartboard that had a bunch of different things on it. Where it landed, I could have started there. There's things I want to do in the residence halls. There's, different things across the campus. Like gazebos. I want to create some outdoor spaces as well, like some outdoor eating spaces along the Fugate Science Center. I'd like to see some of those picnic table type, things along that big long walkway out there. So if people want to enjoy the sun, there's just a lot of things we could do. But the Student Union building seemed like a place that could get used more often than any, seasonally, year-round, and it could have the greatest impact for not just our students, but for visitors, for prospective students, for their parents, when we're having different activities on campus. In the summertime we have a lot of camps that come in and out, and it just becomes a good congregation area for different small groups. So, and it was the place that I think had the most wear and tear that needed attention, immediate attention. So I thought that as far as where we can have the greatest impact, that's where we can have the greatest immediate impact.
And also the facilities was sitting there, but it really wasn't inviting because the furniture, the TVs were pretty much outdated. So students would watch an old fuzzy TV, and the furniture was torn and ripped, and there wasn't really a good place in that area for their internet access and things like that where they could be comfortable.
And I think, I'll tell you, an indirect effect of it is I think students then appreciate things. When we're as a college aren't taking care of things, if we're not providing chairs and tables and couches that look like we care about them, then why should the students care about them? But if we're taking the time to remodel and to renovate and bring new things in and fresh ideas, I think it makes the students feel like people care about what's going on, and then in turn they care about what's going on. So I've been the housekeeping staff tells me that the students have been doing a great job of keeping up with everything. I've not seen any kind of damage, that kind of stuff. So I'm really pleased with that. So I think it's good. I think it's students taking pride in the campus. I think things like that make people appreciate where they are.
Raidercast took a poll with students around campus. The majority of those students do like the changes in the sub. In the same poll, students were asked if the changes made them go over to the sub more often or not, or if they were indifferent. Half of those students say that the changes do make them come over more often. 40% say they do not, and 10% were indifferent. So activity at the sub has increased, and college officials are noticing. According to the college officials, not only has activity at the sub increased, but they have heard generally positive feedback from faculty and students both in person and on social media. So has the sub renovation lived up to their expectations and been successful? It would seem so. For Raidercast, I'm James McIntosh.
The Student Union building definitely looks different, and now has the potential to offer more to the students it serves.
Stay tuned, and we'll return with our newest segment here on Raidercast, The Gallery.
They would talk about the city on a hill, the beacon on a hill, and that's kind of how I felt Lindsey was. It's, this this very metropolitan college, really, when you look at the student body and how diverse it is, in the middle of this rural community.
But it's certainly that school that is in the midst of that transformation to something way beyond what any of us could ever hope for or imagine a small college to become.
Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to our newest segment, The Gallery. All of the short films that are showcased on this segment come from Lindsey Wilson's college undergraduate projects. Let's take a look.
Kidnapped, extorted, deceived, gone in an instant. The buying, selling, and incarceration of people is an international problem that exists even after 200 years since its first abolishment. In 2010, the U.S. Department of State estimated that 12.3 million people are victims of modern-day slavery. 4,166 cases were successfully prosecuted in 2009, and 104 countries have no regulations to prevent the deportation of trafficking victims. The most vulnerable are women and children who are bought and sold for labor, sex, or making war. According to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, there were 7 high-probability cases of trafficking in Kentucky in 2012. 1 is too many. Clues that point to human trafficking include signs of physical or sexual abuse if the person is unable or unwilling to talk about where they live or appears to be in poor physical health. If someone is in immediate danger, you should dial 911. The Polaris Project, which started in 2002, has been fighting human trafficking ever since. They work in partnership with government agencies to stop this despicable act. In addition to this partnership, they also provide comprehensive care to trafficking victims, including emotional support and housing when available. If you'd like to help the fight against human trafficking, please visit polarisproject.org.
Coming up right after the break, we'll bring you more campus community news, so stay tuned.
You know, they would talk about the city on a hill, the beacon on a hill, and that's kind of how I felt Lindsey was. It's, you know, this very metropolitan college, really, when you look at the student body and how diverse it is, in the middle of this rural community.
But it's certainly that school that is in the midst of that transformation to something way beyond what any of us could ever hope for or imagine a small college to become.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Mariah Stearns with Jay Estes. We now bring you more campus and community news that you're looking for.
Shop 24 has arrived on the campus of Lindsey Wilson College. This shop offers students a place to get convenient items like food and toiletries, but Raidercast reporters examine the price of convenience. 50% of students are without cars here on LWC's campus, so when a 3 a.m. study session hits rock bottom, a fourth meal could be just the thing you need. Shop 24 has arrived, but some students can't afford to be as excited as others.
Originally, I'm an international student, so obviously getting to Walmart and getting those utilities was a little bit tough.
Leander brought an idea to the Business Expo where he would then partner up with Mark Coleman to help those without transportation.
In the fall of 2013, there was a student group that was at the Business Expo, and they had a concept of creating a convenience store. If I remember correctly, it was like a cart convenience store.
It was when one of the dining center employees saw an ad for Shop 24 in a magazine. When Mr. Coleman heard about it, he thought it would be a good fit for the college. So what is Shop 24?
Shop 24 is a mixture of a convenience store and a vending machine.
But how convenient is it? Yes, a nice location on campus, but some students have a few concerns.
Yeah, that's the only negative thing. Like, yeah, you can actually find some of the stuffs here from Walmart for a more cheap price. But
the goals are high for Shop 24. Students respond the way they hope, or will prices drive them away?
You know, at the end of the day, what I'd like to have happen is for this to be a service to our students. And however we can meet those needs is what I'd like to do.
At the end of the day, students' opinions will make or break Shop 24. Suggestions will be taken into account on what to include in the machine. But will Lindsey Wilson agree to pay for convenience? For Raidercast, I'm Jay Estes.
Will you stop by Shop 24? Where do you prioritize price over convenience? We're going to follow up on the popularity of Shop 24 over the next few months. Be sure to stay tuned to future Raidercast episodes.
Right after this break, we'll return with all your LWC sports news.
You know, they would talk about the city on a hill, the beacon on a hill, and that's kind of how I felt Lindsey was. It's, you know, this very metropolitan college, really, when you look at the student body and how diverse it is, in the middle of this rural community.
But it's certainly that school that is in the midst of that transformation to something way beyond what any of us could ever hope for or imagine a small college to become.
Welcome back to the Blue Raider Sports segment. I'm Mariah Stearns with Jay Estes.
Here on Raidercast, we got the takedown on two-time wrestling champion Joe Cosart, and to speak with him about his accomplishments. Raidercast reporters also got a grip on what it means for LWC. Take a look.
18 schools, 20 individuals, 7 returning All-Americans, 1 national champ. Joe Cosart is one of the special few wrestlers to make history here at Lindsey Wilson. By not only being a 3-time All-American and also a 2-time national champ, it's safe to say wrestling is his lifestyle. For Joe, this started as early as his first breath.
Oh, I've been a career wrestler since I was 4 years old. My dad is a wrestling coach, a 7-time world veterans world champ, and my brother was a wrestler. And so as soon as I came out of the womb, I was destined to be some kind of wrestler somewhere. I wrestled throughout since I was 4, elementary school, middle school, high school, and now.
Joe's historic past and high school success was no secret in the wrestling world, especially not to Lindsey's own head wrestling coach, Corey Ruff.
He's from a very historic high school program in Brandon, Florida. I mean, he's kind of famous. Joe was a part of a documentary that ESPN did, when Joe was in high school, and his dad's one of the, biggest name out there in the high school wrestling ranks. So just by Joe being here, we've got that connection.
Despite being sought after by so many schools, Joe's choice to come to Lindsey didn't seem to be a hard one.
When I was choosing to come to Lindsey Wilson, I saw the atmosphere that we had here. I saw Coach Ruff and Coach Abe Cross, and I saw that it was a very family-oriented team and very tight-knit community along with the school. And I saw how trustworthy they were, and they made me feel right at home when I was choosing it. So it was I felt like it was right to come here.
Joe's choice to come to Lindsey paid off after winning not just 1, but 2 national championships.
To win a second one, it was great. The feeling you get to stand on top of that podium is unlike any other feeling in the world. To know that there are so many people out there trying to do what you just did, and that you're the best. And that's from day one, when people step onto the college campus and they're a wrestler or they compete athletics, there's that one goal of being a national champ. And to stand alone amongst so many is just a great accomplishment. And it gives you a sense of pride and accomplishment for doing something for yourself, for your team and your school.
I'm confident in saying that Joe Cosart has made the most profound impact an individual student athlete has made, in our short time. We've only been around for 6 years, but Joe was kind of the first really big name recruit to jump on board at Lindsey Wilson, and he had a lot of people knew who Joe was in the wrestling world, and for him to make the decision to come here, and it kind of opened the eyes to the rest of the wrestling world on the possibilities of, if Joe Cosart can thrive at Lindsey Wilson, why can't I?
With the arrival of Joe's retirement, he and his coach still hope to keep wrestling a top priority, but in a different way.
In my life, I'm majoring in education, so I want to be some kind of coach and a teacher. If everything works out, one day maybe I'll coach at a college, or have my own high school team, or be connected to some kind of wrestling club in the future. But once you're a wrestler, it's such a stigma on you that you can really never shake it. Guys try to leave the wrestling community for 10, 20 years, they come back and they're just as much of a wrestler as they were before.
Is he capable of being my assistant coach here? Absolutely. I don't know if that's, we've been talking, and that's, those are decisions we're going to make when the time comes.
No matter where Joe's wrestling career takes him, he'll always be a part of Lindsey Wilson's history. It is truly an honor for Joe and an honor for the LWC community. Hopefully, the wrestling success continues on for Joe and his teammates. For more information on all Lindsey Wilson sports news, visit the Blue Raider Sports homepage at lindseyathletics.com.
That will conclude this month's edition of Raidercast.
We'll see you here on Duo County Channel 2, video on demand, and online at youtube.com/LWC Raidercast. We'll be here covering your campus and community news. Thank you for joining us. This has been Mariah Stearns with Jay Estes. Have a great day.